the first thing that Julia asked us to talk about was what our takeaway has been from the last period that we've just been over. And I think the bit that I've noticed and I'd like to share with you guys is that those businesses that I've seen that have really not just survived but thrived over the last 3 months or so have been the ones that have got a very good habit of knowing their numbers. And so the clients that I've had that have been able to get the sort of loans and grants they were wanting without too much hassle, who've been able to just get up as soon as they found out that the economy was changing under their feet, they've been able to pivot, to be really agile. Those guys are the ones that have had a habit of knowing their numbers and of making a forecast. So if I could give you anything from what we've been through, it's be one of those businesses. You want to be like those guys. And if you could model out what they've done, it's been a combination of things. It's been having data that they can get their fingers on really easily. The way that my clients do that is using Xero, having daily up-to-date bookkeeping. So you could look at Xero today and you would know what your position was as at the end of play yesterday. I think having that data to your fingertips has been really instrumental to be able to do that. And then it's knowing from the historical stuff that you've been looking at, what that means for the future. So it's all one, it's great to have the backward looking stuff, but the next step, once you've got your daily bookkeeping really working for you, is to say, and what does that mean going into the future? So it's making that plan going forward and being in the habit of looking at it regularly. So not making a plan and popping it away until next year. It's saying, how do we build that into our process so that on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, when it's talking about cash flow on a daily basis, how do we build that into our daily process of running our business, that we're really focusing on what our finances look like. The businesses that I've seen do really well through this period, they're not the richest ones. They're definitely not necessarily the ones with the biggest chunk of cash in the bank. Yes, they've not felt the pain that some of the other clients have felt, but my best clients, the ones that have dealt with this period the best, have been those that have been quite tight on cash flow in the past 12 months actually. And so they've got into the habit of doing those cash flow forecasts because they've needed to. There's been some push to do that, and they've learned through having that habit that it actually makes it much easier to run their business, so they've continued doing that. So don't think that the only way you survive a period like this is by being rich. It helps for sure, but it's not the only answer. It's actually being really good about being disciplined around numbers, and those clients have also learned to really cut through their overhead. So they've gone through their overheads already and cut out all of that chaff that they don't need. They've stopped paying people for subscriptions that they'd forgotten to cancel. They've done that work already. So being careful about what your spending is like is also part of that. And then what they've been able to do is really leverage the loans and grants that have been available to them, and furlough as well. So because they already knew their numbers and they already had a plan, as soon as we were given an announcement about a grant, they could say, right, I know that falls into this month of my cash flow plan. I'll tweak that and then we'll go forward with it. And because the plan was already in place, and of course, if you made a plan in January, none of this stuff was on that plan. So the plan isn't what it looks like now, but what they did have was a plan that they could start with and say, right, okay, so if I just change those different scenarios in my plan, it'll all just feed through and I can see where I'm at. So they weren't starting from scratch. They started from plan 0, plan 0.1, and they just twisted it round to plan version 2. So that's my biggest takeaway, is those people are the ones that have done the best. This stuff is going to happen again. So you want to be in their shoes the next time this comes around, so that you're in the best place to survive and thrive. So my top 3 tips is to have a plan, right? Obviously. So my first thing is make a plan, and that could be a very simple business plan that you then tweak. It could be your full 3-way forecast. So when we talk about 3-way forecast in accounting, that means cash flow plan, your profit and loss account, and your balance sheet, all forecasted out for the next 12 months at least. So go ahead and do that. Now, if you don't have that already, we are running a business webinar, especially around this kind of thing, on Thursday next week, and we can get those details out to you guys. We can help you make sure that you've got those plans that you need. My second tip is to know your numbers, and I don't just mean know where you'd find them, but to look at them and understand what they mean for you in your business. Knowing your numbers is really, really important as a director. And the thing that I'd like you to take away from this is, it's one thing to look at your numbers once and then put them away. Knowing your numbers is really about looking at them on a regular basis and seeing how they're moving. So a static number gives you a certain amount of information. So much more useful to have a graph that says, and this is what it looked like this time last year, and this is what it looked like this time last quarter. So you can start to track what is actually going on in your business. So know your numbers. And my third point is to surround yourself with the right tribe. This is my tribe here, and it's really lovely to be surrounded by people like this. But I think that's another thing that I've really noticed over the last 3 months or so is I'm in a lovely bubble of positivity with the kind of business owners that I talk to. Sometimes I put my hand out into the outside world and I bring it back really quickly because it's not very nice out there. And sometimes we need to know that it's not very nice out there. So there's no harm in being aware of the outside world. But what you really want to do is surround yourself with people who will hold you accountable, who understand your business, and who really want you to survive. And if you've got those kind of people around you, then you're going to be able to make the right plans, and you're going to be able to get yourself not just surviving, but really thriving through this next period.
Thank you, Tory. Such wise words and some practical things there for us all to do as well. Thank you. And all of it just, makes so much sense. So thank you for sharing that.